Hare Krishna, welcome back to the Bhagavad Gita study circle. It's been some time. Last few weeks we were unable to actually do the session on YouTube, but we did the sessions, and all the previous sessions are actually available on the link given in the description. So you can all actually listen to the previous sessions on the link, and you can listen that on Spotify. You can also listen that on Castbox. You can also listen on the Apple podcast. So those sessions will be available. The previous sessions are available. Just in case if you have missed the previous sessions of the Bhagavad Gita, you can listen to them on the link given in the description. But today, before we start, we will have a short kirtan, and then we will begin the session. So all of you can listen to the kirtan for a while, and then we will start the session. So we also have Achyutanji and Hina Mataji, and dear listeners on YouTube, if you are there, you can also feel free to leave your comments there. That will be really nice. All right. So let's begin with a very simple tune, the Jai Radha Madhava song. We have sung it before. If you can catch the words, that will be really very nice. Sankirtan Mahayagna ki
Jai.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
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 Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
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 Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari.
Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Yamuna Tira Vanachari.
Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe.
Radha
Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada.
Sankirtan Mahayagna ki
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
So, Hare Krishna once again. So, let's begin with the Pranam mantras. Let me share the screen with all of you. All right, I think the screen should be visible. And this is our 47th session. So we are in the 47th session of the Bhagavad Gita study circle, and let me make the screen full screen so that, yeah, all right, this should be fine. So let's dedicate the session to my beloved spiritual master, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, the founder Acharya of ISKCON. So these are the Pranam mantras. So kindly join your palms and please repeat the Pranam mantras along with me. Namo Om Vishnupadaya
Namo Vishnupadaya
Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale
Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale
Srimate Bhaktivedanta
Srimate Bhakti Vedanta
Swamin Niti Namine
Swamin Niti Namane
Namaste Saraswate Deve
Namaste Saraswate Deve
Gauravani Pracharine
Gauravani Pracharane
Nirvishesha Shunyavadi
Nirvishesha Sunyavadi
Pashyat Deshatarine
Pashyatvedeshatarine
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya
Prabhu Nityananda
Prabhu Nityananda
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Shri Advaita Gadadhara
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Namo Mahavadanyaya
Namo Mahavadanyaya
Krishna Prema Pradayate
Krishna Prema Pradayate
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya
Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya
Namne Gauratvishe Namaha
Name Gauratvishe Namaha
Namo Brahmanya Devaya
Namo Brahmanya Devaya
Go Brahmana Hitaya Cha
Go Brahmanya Hitaya Cha
Jagadhitaya Krishnaya
Jagadhitaya Krishnaya
Govindaya Namo Namaha
Govindaya Namo Namaha
He Krishna Karuna Sindho
He Krishna Karuna Sindho
Dinabandho Jagatpate
Dinabandho Jagatpate
Gopesha Gopika Kanta
Gopesha Gopika Kanta
Radha Kanta Namostute
Radha Kanta Namostute
Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi
Taptakanchana Gaurangi
Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Radhe Vrindavaneshwari
Vrishabhanu Sute Devi
Vrishabhanu Sute Devi
Pranamami Hari Priye
Pranamami Hari Priye
Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha
Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha
Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha
Kripa Sindhu Bhayevya cha
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Patitanam Pavanebhyo
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha
Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Hare Rama Hare Rama
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Rama Rama Hare Hare
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Mena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Hare Krishna once again, all of you, for joining us on this Bhagavad Gita study circle. So we are in the 47th session today. So in the previous session, we have discussed until verse number 34 of chapter 4. So all the previous sessions were recorded and will be soon uploaded on the link given in the description. You can listen to all the Bhagavad Gita sessions, in the previous sessions, on the link that is given, shared in the description. So in the last verse number 34, Krishna explained the importance of approaching a spiritual master. Anyone who is very serious, who wants to learn spiritual life, then he has to approach a spiritual master. Tat vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnaninas tattvadarshinaha. So tat means absolute truth. And if you want to acquire or know and understand the absolute truth, then you have to approach a tattvavit, a person who has understood the absolute truth. So we also discussed the qualifications of a disciple, and we also understood the qualifications of a spiritual master. So what are the qualifications of a disciple? The prominent one discussed in this particular shloka is pranipata, pariprashna, and sevaya, right? So that is what is needed. So we all have to understand that a disciple should actually do pranipata, that is paying obeisances, his respects. Then pariprashna, should inquire and ask questions. And then sevaya, he should also render service to the spiritual master. And we also understood the qualifications of a spiritual master, who is brahmajanati iti brahmana. It is said that brahmana is one who understands the Brahman, but spiritual master is one who understands the supreme personality of Godhead, and that is Krishna. So these are all very, very important things, and you can actually revisit and hear once again that very, very important thing about verse number 34 that we have discussed. So those who have missed it, you can always go back and listen to it in the link given below. But today, let's continue from verse number 35, because it's very, very nice discussion that is going to come up now. And there are some more very important things, the concepts, and very nice descriptions that how this jnana, this knowledge, transcendental knowledge, can liberate all of us. So Krishna is going to share some more very important insights about the transcendental knowledge. So verse number 35. So Achyutanji, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the next shloka, that is verse number 35. So let me display that on the screen. All right. So verse number 35. Achyutanji, you can unmute yourself. Very, very important shloka. You ready?
Yes.
Yagnatva na punarmoham
Yajnatva na punarmoham
evam yasyasi pandava
evam yasyasi pandava
yena bhutanya sheshani
yena bhutane sani
drakshyasyatmanyato mayi.
drakshasya atmane athomayi.
We'll do this once again. Yagnatva na punarmoham
Yajnatva na punarmoham
evam yasyasi pandava
evam yasyasi pandava
yena bhutanya sheshani
yena bhutane sheshani
drakshyasyatmanyato mayi.
drakshashyatmanai athomayi.
Wonderful. Please read the translation by yourself.
And when you have thus learned the truth, you will know that all living beings are but part of me, and that they are in me, are and are mine.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So we also have Uma Kumar Saran joining us on YouTube. So wonderful to have you after a long time, Uma Kumar, and I hope that you're doing well. So this is a very, very interesting shloka. So here Krishna is saying, Yagnatva na punarmoham. Moham means illusion. You know, many times we are illusioned, especially when you are going on a highway and you see on the road that there is that mirage. You feel as if it is water, but it is not water. But you feel that there is water. Similarly, in the desert, many times you see that there is water far away, but it is not water, because in desert you will not get any water. And many times you will also have some optical illusions. Many times you see that, oh, it is a rope, but you consider that it is a snake, and you become fearful. So many times we are illusioned. So Krishna is saying here, Yajnatvana punar moham evam yasyasi pandava. So it is said that, and when you have thus learned the truth, now you will know that all living beings are part of me, and that they are in me and are mine. So thus learn the truth means that in the previous shloka we have very beautifully understood that knowledge, thus truth means the knowledge that we have acquired from a tattvavit, the knowledge that we have acquired from a spiritual master, a realized transcendental personality, is what will actually make us understand that every living entity is actually the part and parcel of Krishna. Very, very important. This is the first shloka in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is revealing that every living entity is my part and parcel. So previously Krishna has said that, oh, this material nature is belonging to me, karma has to be offered to me, yajna has to be done for my pleasure. Those things are mentioned in the previous verses, but this is the first shloka where Krishna is saying that every living entity, not just in this universe, in every universe, are actually my part and parcel. In the upcoming chapters also Krishna is going to say this, but this is the first verse in the Bhagavad Gita where Krishna is indicating that every living entity is actually his part and parcel. Such an important thing, you see. And not just that, what Krishna is trying to stress in this verse is Yajnatvana punar moham. This jnana, this transcendental knowledge that you have received from the spiritual master will destroy all the illusion that you have in life. So any illusion that is there, the dualities, many times in life we are battling with dualities to do or not do. So all these kind of illusions will vanish when we do proper seva and understand this knowledge from a spiritual master. So only when we have such knowledge, transcendental knowledge, divya jnana, that we have received from the spiritual master, a guru, that is when we will be able to free ourselves from illusion. Otherwise, it is not possible, my dear devotees. Please understand. Many people, they think that there is no need of guru. I can read Bhagavad Gita myself and I can understand Krishna and I will go and get liberated. It is not possible. It is not just an example set by Krishna himself, because you see, Krishna himself, when he came on this planet, he accepted as spiritual master Sandipni Muni. Not just that, he also did Pranipata, Pariprashna and Sevaya. Krishna himself actually paid a lot of respects to his spiritual master. He asked questions, he learned 64 hours in 64 days. And then he also did Sevaya. He did so much seva to his guru. He used to go to the forest and collect the firewood and do all these things. So much of seva he has done. So now it is important to have a spiritual master, and this is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam also. In the Bhagavad Purana, it is very nicely said that how only by spiritual master we can go to Krishna. Spiritual master acts like a transparent via medium between you and the Supreme Lord. The spiritual master acts like a transparent via medium, just like a glass. The glass will not obstruct anything from the opposite side. Everything that comes from the light, from the source of light, will be passed through the glass. So similarly, anything, all the mercy that Krishna is giving to us will automatically be transferred by the glass. This is confirmed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I want to show those shlokas to all of you. Very, very beautiful shloka. This is coming in the 5th canto, the 12th chapter and the 12th verse, where there is a discussion between Rahugana, the king Rahugana, and Jadabharat. Now, I have explained to you earlier also that how Bharat Maharaj, who was the king, the emperor of the whole planet, this planet Earth, had actually gone to do tapasya, but then he got attached to this deer, a small baby deer, the fawn, and then at the point of death, he was thinking of the deer, and in the next life, he became the deer. But then he realized, oh, what a big mistake I have done. And again, he was given another chance, and he came back and took birth as Jadabharat. And Jadabharat was totally ignorant. He was totally indifferent to all the things that are happening. People used to call him names. He was acting like a fool, but he was a self-realized soul. So once this King Rahuguna was actually taking his entourage was passing through this particular place where Jadabharat was staying. And then it so happened that they needed a person to carry the palaki of this King Rahuguna. And that is when Jadabharat was called, because they saw him. And Jadabharat, while he was carrying the palki of Rahuguna, Rahuguna felt a lot of disturbance, the turbulence in the palki. It was not moving very smoothly. And he asked the soldiers, what's happening? Why are you so carrying it not properly? And that is when they said that, no, this particular new person, Jadabharat, he is not able to carry properly. Then the king was angry and he asked Jadabharat, why are you not carrying it properly? You look very strong. Then he says, no, my dear king, there are so many ants there and I cannot actually trample and walk on them. I don't want to kill them. That's why I was trying to avoid killing these little creatures. So Rahugana made a little fun, but then that is when this Jadabharat speaks very beautiful, wonderful knowledge, transcendental knowledge to this king Rahugana. And Rahugana then becomes a very nice devotee. So one of this verse of Jadabharat, where he says, very nice thing, he says here that Rahu Ganaita Tapasa Nayati Nache Jayanir Vapanat Grahadva Na Chandasa Vajalagni Surye Vina Mahatpad Rajo Bhishekam. So the translation goes very nice. I will read this. Please listen very carefully. Oh my dear King Rahugana, unless one has the opportunity to smear his entire body with the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, one cannot realize the absolute truth. So just see, in the previous shloka we understood, Tad Vidhi Pranipatena Pariprashnena Sevaya Upadekshanti Te Jnanam Jnaninas Tasva Darshina. So if you want to understand the Tattva Jnana, you have to approach Tattva with. The same thing is explained here. You have to take the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, otherwise you cannot realize absolute truth. One cannot realize the absolute truth simply by observing celibacy, brahmacharya, strictly following the rules and regulations of a householder life, leaving home as a vanaprastha, accepting sannyasa, or undergoing severe penances in winter by keeping oneself submerged in water or surrounding oneself in summer by fire and the scorching heat of the sun. There are many other processes to understand the absolute truth, but the absolute truth is only revealed to one who has attained the mercy of the Lord. So, this is so very important. I think it was not shared. Let me do that once again. I'm so sorry. So, this was the translation. It's very, very beautiful to understand. Please understand that without the help of a spiritual master, without having the mercy, the dust of the lotus feet of great devotees, it is difficult to understand the absolute truth. And the very same thing is also described by Prahlad Maharaj in the 7th canto. Now, Prahlad Maharaj is also very beautifully offering the prayers. And in Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, that is in Canto 7, Chapter 5, verse number 32, the same thing is being mentioned. Let me show that to all of you on the screen. Naishamatistavadur kramangrim sparshat narthapagamo yadartaha mahiyasam padarajobhishekam nishkinchananam navarneta yavad. So the translation goes, unless they smear upon their bodies the dust of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava completely freed from material contamination, persons very much inclined toward materialistic life cannot be attached to the lotus feet of the Lord, who is glorified for his uncommon activities. Only by becoming Krishna conscious and taking shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord in this way can one be freed from material contamination. Just see? So, unless we take the mercy of a spiritual master, a Vaishnava, you cannot get completely freed from the material contamination. And what do I mean, material contamination? Material contamination means to think that I am this body, that ahankara and mamakara, oh, I am this body and everything belongs to me. So this is material contamination. But if you want to become free from this material contamination, then we need to approach a Vaishnava. A Vaishnava means the devotee of Vishnu. So only a purified devotee can actually make us free from material contamination. And this is why Krishna has started this Guru Parampara, GPS system. Right? The very first, second shloka of this chapter, Krishna has explained that Evam Parampara Praptam. It is so very important to have coming in contact with the parampara is so important. Without parampara, the knowledge is not revealed to us. It's extremely important to accept a spiritual master. So this is why there is so much of importance given to a guru in our tradition. We should never try to go beyond the spiritual master. Anytime anybody who wants to accept the Supreme Lord without the spiritual master, even the Lord will not accept. The Lord will accept us and our service only through the medium of the spiritual master. In practical spirituality, when we were discussing, I told you that when we are offering the food to the Lord, we don't offer food to Krishna directly. We offer it to the spiritual master first. And the spiritual master in turn offers it to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in turn offers the food to Supreme Lord Radha and Krishna. So this is the process of parampara. Extremely important. So now what Krishna is saying here, that anybody who understands this truth will understand that every living entity is part and parcel of me. They are in me and they are all belonging to me. They are coming from me. Krishna is the source of all the living entities. So just imagine this transcendental knowledge, this jnana received from the spiritual master. The first thing is you will know that we all belong to the Supreme Lord Krishna. So if you know that every living entity is actually part and parcel of Krishna, will you think of actually harming them? Just like in your family, you don't harm anyone because you have a common father. You think that, oh, This is my brother and sister. So when you understand that Krishna is the supreme father of every living entity, you will not think of harming your own brother and sister, including the animals, because animals are also your brothers and sisters in different forms. So this is actually having a broader vision of life. This is what the spiritual knowledge does to us. So we should, with full enthusiasm, understand that if at all you want to progress in spiritual life, then a disciple should do these three things at least: pranipata, pariprashna, and sevaya. And any devotee, any disciple who slackens in pranipata, pariprashna, and sevaya, if any disciple of a spiritual master, although he has received the divya jnana, he has to continue the process of pranipata. It's not that, okay, now Guru has given me the divya jnana, from now on I will not do pranipata to my spiritual master. No. That is Duryodhana mentality. That, oh, I have received all the knowledge from Dronacharya, now I don't need him, I can disrespect him. That is what he did. So that is not what we require. Pranipata should continue, pariprashna should continue, and sevaya to the spiritual master should continue. But when you slacken in these three things, that is when we will fall back into illusion. Now Krishna is saying, Yajnatvana punarmoham, you will not fall back into illusion if you receive this knowledge. But you have received this knowledge, but if you don't continue respecting pranipata, pariprashna, and sevaya, then there is every chance that you will again fall back into illusion. So that is why we have to be very careful. Walking on a razor's edge, that is spiritual life. Spiritual life means you are so careful, you have to be so careful. Just imagine you are walking on a sword. You have to be very careful. Little inattention, it will cut you. So spiritual life is also like that. You need to be extreme. We all have to be extremely careful. Little slacken here and there, oh chalega, little, then gone. We will fall back into illusion. That is how it is. Because our environment is fully illusory. We are surrounded by illusory energy. In that we are trying to practice spiritual life. Very, very difficult. But in the spiritual world, it is not like that. In the spiritual world, everything is, your whole environment is spiritual. You will feel so wonderful. Everything is very natural there. Practicing spirituality is very natural in the spiritual world. But here it is very unnatural. So we have to be very careful in this way. So, yena bhutana sheshani drakshasatmani atomahi. All the living entities are my part and parcel. So that is why, oh Arjuna, because they are all my part and parcel, you should not get bewildered by so-called relationship. Oh, my grandfather Bhishma, my guru Dronacharya, my brothers. No, all these are simply some material attachments and relationships, but you should know that actually they all belong to me. They are my part and parcel, and I am telling you, you should fight. Just see. So Krishna is giving a broader picture here. First thing is, soul is never going to die. So Krishna is also saying that relationship, that so-called relationship that you're talking, don't get illusioned by the relationship that you have. Instead, you see them from my perspective. You see that I am their father, and considering me as the father of all the living entities, with that relationship when you see, then you will be able to fight with them for establishing dharma. So this is how we need to see every situation in connection with Krishna. When we see everything in connection with Krishna, our illusion goes away. So this is what very beautifully Krishna has explained. So please understand, Tattva Jnana means it is possible only through, okay, we also have Vinod Chandanji. Thank you so much. Dev and Uma Kaumar also has joined here. Great, very nice. So this is how we cannot neglect spiritual master. This is extremely important. So let's go to the next verse now. That is verse number 36. Very, very interesting verse. So let's display that verse on the screen. And Hina Mataji can unmute yourself, and let's go and chant verse number 36. A very interesting verse again.
Yes, Prabhupada.
So, yes. Api chedasi papyebhyah
अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः
सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः
सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः
सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव
सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव
वृजीनं सन्तरिष्यसि.
वृजीनं सन्तरिष्यसि.
Once again, अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः
अपि चेदसि पापेभ्यः
सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः
सर्वेभ्यः पापकृत्तमः
सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव
सर्वं ज्ञानप्लवेनैव
वृजीनं सन्तरिष्यसि.
वृजीनं सन्तरिष्यसि.
Yes. Please read the translation by yourself.
Even if you are considered to be the most sinful of all sinners, when you are situated in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you will be able to cross over the ocean of miseries.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you. So, in this verse, Krishna is talking about the transcendental boat of knowledge. So, here, this transcendental knowledge is referred to as a boat. You see, Sarvam Jnana Plavenaiva. Jnana Plavenaiva. Plava means boat. So, Jnana Plavenaiva means a boat of transcendental knowledge. So, Apichedasi Papebhyaha Sarvebhya Papakrittamaha. Sarvam Jnana Plavenaiva Vrijinam Santarishyasi. So Krishna is saying that, oh my dear Arjuna, all my dear disciples and devotees, please understand, Krishna is saying, just somehow or the other, by hook or crook, just board onto this Jnana Plavenaiva, just get into this boat of transcendental knowledge, and it is my responsibility that I will take you back home, back to Godhead. I will row this boat to the other side of this material world where you'll get into the spiritual world. So Krishna is so eager. He is very eager than us to take us back to the spiritual world. So he's saying that you just have to somehow board this spiritual transcendental boat of knowledge. So all of you have already done that now. So since last 1 year, you have actually got into the boat. You have got into this boat of transcendental knowledge. So every time when we are actually climbing this boat, Krishna is personally rowing this boat now. Now Krishna is saying this is very, very important. You just have to climb. You just have to be into this boat. Make an attempt to be on the boat. Many people are there. We keep sending messages and everybody, please join the sessions, but they don't. But here is a chance where they can climb in this boat, and Krishna will personally help all of us to get into the other side of this ocean. Now, there is a lot of meaning here. What is Krishna saying? He's saying that sarvebhya papa krittamaha. Krittama means the highest degree. Tamaha means even if you are a greatest sinner, you are the most greatest sinner, I will ensure that you will become free from this all papaha. What a compassionate Lord Krishna is. Just see, imagine. He's saying that even if you're the greatest sinner, I will help you. What you have to do, just climb this boat. Oh Arjuna and everybody, just get into this boat of transcendental knowledge. And people are not ready to do that also. So you have already crossed so much of this material ocean in last 1 year. You have already moved away from the banks now. You're already going toward the spiritual world. This is the first step. Many people don't understand this. So we are already onto this boat now. So wonderful. So let's understand more. So here, many people, devotees, especially when Prabhupada brought some of his Western devotees to India in 70s, early 60s and 70s, the so-called Brahmanas of India, they were very upset. They were saying that, oh, these people are sinners. These foreigners have committed so many sins, and now they're wearing this dhoti kurta and they are accepting our Sanatan Dharma. This is not appropriate. So this is not this knowledge is not meant for these people. But see what Krishna is saying here. Krishna is saying, even if you are the greatest sinner, even if you're the greatest sinner, I will ensure that you will become free from all the papaha. This is the promise. What you have to do, you have to climb the boat. The Westerners, although they are sinners, but they climbed the boat of the transcendental knowledge. So the Brahmanas, they may be born in a Brahmana family, but Brahmana doesn't mean that he's free from all the sins. Even the Brahmana is a sinner. Why do I say so? It's because you please understand, the moment you have this material body, it means you are a sinner. This material body means we have committed sins. Whether you are a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya or a Shudra, you are actually a sinner. So now you have to become, we all have to become free from this papa. Then we have to get into this boat of transcendental knowledge. It's very important. So there were this Jagai and Madai during Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, lifetime and pastime, just 500 years ago. Now Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had ordered his disciples, the prominent preachers in his team were Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur. So they were ordered that you should go street to street, house to house, and you should chant and distribute this holy name, this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So once Jagai and Madai, the two brothers, most notorious brothers, very sinful brothers, so they were born in a Brahmana family, but because of bad association, they had become drunkards and they were womanizers, and they were doing all nuisance. And they were once in this marketplace and they were disturbing everyone there. And Jagai and Madai, while they were doing this, Haridas Thakur and Nityanand Prabhu, they were told that these brothers are the greatest sinners. Moment Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur heard that they are the greatest sinners, they became very excited. Nityanand Prabhu and Haridas Thakur thought, oh, this is a great opportunity for us to preach to these greatest sinners. Because if these great sinners, if they can become devotees, then, and they take up the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra, that will be the greatest glorification of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. If we can somehow make these sinners devotees, then that will be amazing. So, the mood of devotee is like this. So when you see the sinners outside, you should have compassion. That is the basis of dharma. The basis of dharma is compassion. It is the root. Now, if there is no compassion, how can you call yourself a Brahmana? A Brahmana means one of the qualifications is compassion. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciples were having this compassion on all the fallen souls. And when Nityanand Prabhu, Haridas Thakur, they saw this Jagai and Madai, both these brothers, they went there to liberate, to deliver these two brothers. And when they did so, trying to preach to this Jagai and Madai, these two brothers, they were already in the drunken state. They got angry and they took this earthen pot and then they threw at Nityanand Prabhu and it hit the forehead of Nityanand Prabhu and blood started oozing out. Now he was hurt, but still Nityanand Prabhu said, oh my dear Jagai and Madai, please chant this holy name. Please chant this holy name. In spite of getting hurt from them. And later on, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and then he wanted to kill Jagai and Madai through Sudarshan Chakra. Nityanand Prabhu said, my Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please don't. Because in this avatara of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you have promised that you will not lift any weapon. So please do not kill them. And then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, okay, I will not. But they have to take chanting. And Jagai and Madai understood that what a great sin they have committed. So in this Kali Yuga, the greatest weapon that Krishna has given is the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So the greatest of the sinners can be delivered. So please understand, when we board onto this boat of knowledge, transcendental knowledge, it's very easy for Krishna to row this boat and take us on the other side, the spiritual world. So we have to give a chance to Krishna. But Krishna cannot force us or impose things on us. It has to come from us. He has given us the free will. It is whether it's your choice, whether you want to get into the boat or not. Right? So this jnana, so another very important thing about this shloka, which we need to understand. So Krishna is saying, Sarvebhyaha papakrittamaha. What does it mean? That means all my papaha is destroyed. So we have to understand that every living entity, you, me, and everybody, we all have three kinds of karma. Every living entity has three kinds of karma. Now, that is called prarabdha karma, it is called sanchit karma, and then there is something called as aghami karma. So, prarabdha, there is sanchit karma, and then there is agami karma. What is sanchit karma? Now, sanchit karma means all the karma, good, bad, everything, all the karma that you have performed and the resultant reaction of all the previous lives is called sanchit karma. It is your bank balance, the karma bank balance. That is sanchit karma. What is prarabdha karma? Prarabdha karma means certain quota, certain portion of your sanchit karma is allotted to you in this particular lifetime. For this lifetime, as Vinodji, as Achyutanji, as Dev, as Hina Mataji, as Uma Kumar, as Rasagna Das, we all have been allotted something from the sanchit karma that yes, this is the quota of happiness and distress you have to experience in this lifetime. So this is called prarabdha karma. This is why there is something called as destiny. So when an astrologer sees, he sees your prarabdha karma. Oh, this is what is going to come into your life. Then there is aghami karma. Aghami karma means on a day-to-day basis, we are making choices and we are performing karma, and there is a reaction for that. So this reaction, which we make it right now or not, the actions that we are performing, this is called aghami karma. So what's happening here, please understand, when Krishna is saying that sarvebhyaha papakrittamaha, it means that all your sanchit karma will be destroyed. Your aghami karma will be destroyed, but not your prarabdha. That allotted karma which is given to you in this lifetime, you have to experience. But Krishna is saying your sanchit karma and your aghami karma will be destroyed. This is the meaning when he says that sarvebhyaha papakrittamaha means that he is going to destroy your sanchit karma and aghami karma. But prarabdha has to be faced, even if you are onto this board. So this is what we understand from this particular shloka. Extremely important. Very, very important. I have a very beautiful shloka to show all of you related to this particular discussion that we are having. And this is coming from the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. It is 11.20.17. So very beautiful shloka. It is said here, Nridehamadyam sulubham sudurlabham plavam sukalpam gurukarnadharam mayanukule nanabhasvater vateritam puman bhavabdim nataretsa atmaha. So here also, very interestingly, this word plavam sukalpam. So here also it is said that plavam, this boat, is used, and let's see what the translation goes. So here it is said, the human body which can award all benefit in life is automatically obtained by the laws of nature. Although it is very rare achievement. Human life is not so easy to get. It's very, very rare. Out of 84 lakh species, you're getting human form is very, very rare. So this human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorable winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. Such a wonderful shloka. Just see, So here in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is said this human body is a perfectly constructed boat. So you, me, and everybody here, humans, have this very sophisticated boat, this machine. And if you can get a spiritual master in this human form, then that is like having the captain who can row this boat of yours. Not just that, and on top of that, from the spiritual master, if you can get the transcendental instructions of Krishna, that is what you're reading now, you're getting from the Bhagavad Gita, that is like the favorable winds impelling it on its course. So you have the spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, and then you also have the favorable winds, the instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. So all this is impelling your body, this boat, towards the spiritual life. And if you don't take advantage of this, then you are actually the killer of your own soul. See, such a powerful statement Krishna has made in the Bhagavad Gita and the Bhagavatam. So it's very beautiful, isn't it? We are so fortunate in that sense. We have got this human body, we have got spiritual master like Srila Prabhupada, then we have these instructions of the Bhagavad Gita. What more? It's just that we have to make an attempt. Okay, come on, let's get into this boat, this plavam. It's very, very rare. Durlabham. It is durlabha. But we have got. So let's not waste this opportunity. Otherwise, we will be killer of our own soul. That's the greatest sin that we can commit now. After understanding this spiritual life, after coming in contact with Bhagavad Gita, we are trying to understand. If you go back to this material world and forget this knowledge, then I think that is the greatest misfortune of our life. We should not give up on Bhagavad Gita, right? So very nice, Krishna has explained. So Krishna is saying that he will destroy all the papaha, but it is not prarabdha, it is only your sanchit karma and it is your aghami karma. So let's see what Krishna is going to say in the next verse. So next verse is also very interesting. So Vinodji, let's give you a chance now. So you can unmute yourself and let's chant the next verse, and that is verse number 37. So very interesting verse. Krishna is saying, let's chant this. Yataidamsi samidognir.
Yatedamsi samidognir.
Okay, I was trying to go with the previous tune. Let me correct it again. Yataidhamsi samidognir.
Yatedamsi samidognir.
Bhasmasat kurute Arjuna.
Bhasmasa satkurte Arjuna.
Jnanagni sarva karmani.
Jnanagnita sarva karmani.
Bhasmasat kurute tata.
Bhasmasat kurte tatha.
Once again. Yataidamsi samidognir.
Yatedamsi samidognir.
Bhasmasat kurute Arjuna.
Bhasmasat kurte Arjuna.
Jnanagni sarva karmani.
Jnananita sarva karmani.
Bhasmasat kurute tata.
Bhasmasat kurte tatha.
Wonderful. Please read the translation by yourself.
As the blazing fire turns firewood to ashes, O Arjuna, so does the fire of knowledge burn to ashes all reactions to material activities.
Yes, wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, this is also so nice and interesting. Just see the kind of word, the choice of words Krishna is making. So, in the previous verse, Krishna said that this jnana, transcendental knowledge, is a boat and it has to move on the ocean. And here Krishna is saying that this transcendental knowledge, jnana, is actually fire. Now, very interesting. What does the fire do? Jnanagni sarva karmani bhasmasat kurute tata. So, when the firewood catches fire, the firewood is completely burnt into ashes. The fire turns the firewood into ashes. So Krishna is saying this transcendental knowledge is like fire, jnanagni. It is a fire of knowledge, and it will burn all your karma. What karma? Your sanchit karma and your agami karma will be burnt away to ashes. Just see, that is the power of this transcendental knowledge. So right now, all of you, when you are listening to this talk, as we are discussing Bhagavad Gita, as a speaker, gradually I am burning some of my past karma, and you as a listener are also burning some of your past karma. This is the power. These few shlokas that we have already discussed has already burned a little bit of your karma. It's very powerful. Little bit of your sanchit karma and little bit of your agami karma. Very, very powerful. So just let's compare these both verses. So in the previous verse, when Krishna compared the transcendental knowledge to be a boat, so there the karma, the prarabdha karma was compared to the ocean. Right? Now the boat always traverses on the water. The boat cannot actually traverse without the water. Right? So it means that this is the shukshma. It's a very subtle meaning of this shloka. Krishna doesn't speak simply like that. So there is a boat and there is the ocean. This is your karma and this is transcendental knowledge, the boat. So when you are actually traversing, you have to traverse through the ocean, and this ocean is actually the prarabdha karma. You have to face. You cannot escape this prarabdha karma. You have to, in the boat of transcendental knowledge, you have to traverse this prarabdha karma, this ocean of prarabdha karma. Good, bad, ugly, everything. This prarabdha karma allotted to you, this ocean has to be traversed. You cannot escape this ocean. Now, in this shloka, when Krishna is comparing transcendental knowledge to fire, here, fire turns everything to ashes now. Your karma actually represents the firewood. This jnanagni is there. There is this jnanagni and there is this firewood. Firewood is your karma. This jnanagni burns all your karma, that is sanchit karma and agami karma. So Krishna can burn all these karma so that we can reach him. So it's a yagna, it is a tapas that we are doing. It's not an ordinary thing. So we have to take full advantage of this study of Bhagavad Gita. That's why we are not simply going through Bhagavad Gita. We are studying Bhagavad Gita. Why are we studying Bhagavad Gita? We could have actually completed Bhagavad Gita in 18 days. One chapter per session. It's not very difficult. Actually, we can do that. 18 days you can finish. 18 sessions you can finish Bhagavad Gita. No big deal. But we are studying Bhagavad Gita because we want to purify ourselves. We can have an overview also, but if you can study Bhagavad Gita in detail like this, studying Bhagavad Gita deeply, that is the process which purifies us. That is when the Jnanagni will get ignited. Right? So these discussions will really help all of us. So we should give a full chance to Krishna to purify us. So this is what Krishna has explained in this. So in the 36th shloka, transcendental knowledge was actually boat. In 37th, it was Jnanagni, it was fire. So let's go and chant the 38th verse. So Dev, you can unmute yourself and let's chant the next verse. That is verse number 38. Yes. Dev, you're ready? Let me check if I have included him. Yes, I think now I can add him. I think now you can unmute yourself, and I hope you're able to see the shloka.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, great, wonderful. So let's chant verse number 38. Nahi jnanena sadrusham
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशम्
पवित्रम इह विद्यते
पवित्रम् इह विद्यते
तत्स्वयं योग संसिद्धः
तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः
कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
Let's do that once again. Nahi jnanena sadrusham
नहि ज्ञानेन सदृशम्
pavitram iha vidyate
पवित्रम् इह विद्यते
tat swayam yoga samsiddhah
तत्स्वयं योगसंसिद्धः
कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
कालेनात्मनि विन्दति.
Yes, wonderful. Please read the translation by yourself.
Yes. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism, and one who has achieved this enjoys the self within himself in due course of time. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Wonderful. Very nice. So, what is this knowledge? Actually, it is the mature fruit of all mysticism, all the different yoga and everything that you're doing, whatever spiritual process that you do and you follow, but the ultimate, the fruit of such activity, such tapasya, is actually this transcendental knowledge. Now, what is transcendental knowledge? The transcendental knowledge means I am a spirit soul, Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and I have a relationship with that Supreme Lord. So that is called transcendental knowledge. Only when you think about a relationship with the Supreme Lord, that is transcendental knowledge. Very, very important. Now, let's understand. So this is very interesting. Nahi jnanena sadrusham pavitram iha vidyate. Now, pavitram means pure. But we have this impure material body. Material body which is made up of 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Now, just by taking bath, do you think we will become pavitra? No. By coming in contact with these 5 elements, we don't become purified. It is not so. Now you take, for example, a turtle or a fish. All the time it is inside the water. It is always surrounded by water. Do you think you can call the fish as very pure? No. It is there in the water all the time. Do you think that it is pure? No, it is not pure. What about the frogs? You know, most of the time they are also croaking from one place to another place. They are also in the water. Do you think the frogs are pure in nature? No, the frogs are also not pure. What about the trees? You know, the trees are in the open air, and actually wind purifies. You know, for most of the silk clothes, you don't have to wash silk clothes. You just have to dry them in the air. Just by the air, the silk clothes will get purified. But whereas cotton and other material, they get purified by water. But silk, you don't have to actually wash them. Just by keeping it in the air, the flow of wind purifies silk clothes. Now the trees are always constantly exposed to the wind. Do you think the trees are actually pure in nature? Are they pavitra? No. They are not pavitra. What about iron? Now iron is a dull matter. And when you keep the iron rod into the fire, now fire is very, very purifying, right? Anything that you put into fire, fire purifies. That's the nature of fire. Just by keeping the iron rod in the fire, do you think the iron rod will get purified? Can it be called as pavitra? No, it cannot be called as pavitra. Why the fishes, the frogs, the trees, the iron, they are not pavitra, although they are coming in contact with these 5 elements which can purify them. They are not called pavitra because nahi jnanena sadrusham. They do not have this transcendental knowledge, because they do not have the spiritual knowledge. That's why just by purifying yourself with these 5 elements, you will not become purified. We will not become purified. Just see, this word pavitra means pavana. Pavana means to purify. You're clean. Not just that, pavi. Pavi means vajrayuda. Vajrayuda, that Indra has vajrayuda. Pavi also means you vajrayuda. Tra. Tra means protection. Now, pavitra means that which gives you protection. So, this jnana, this transcendental knowledge, actually gives you protection. Please understand. You should never underestimate the power of this divya jnana. Anytime you are in trouble, many times when we are in pain, this transcendental knowledge gives us protection, my dear devotees. Never, never forget this. You should have full confidence that this knowledge will give you protection. It is not just giving you knowledge of what is right and wrong, but you should also have the confidence that this knowledge will give you full protection. There is a lot of things that you can acquire through this transcendental knowledge. Now, for example, we have this example of Shaubari Muni. Now, Shaubari Muni was a great yogi and he was doing tapasya inside the water. He was under the ocean, inside the water, he is doing tapasya. And when he came out, and that is when he actually expanded. Do you know? He expanded himself into 50 Shaubari Munis. One Shaubari Muni became 50 because he had to marry the 50 daughters of a king. So he expanded himself into 50. That's the power. How he could expand? Because Divya Jnana, they are great tapasvis. Of course, he used that for some material benefit, but I'm just saying this transcendental knowledge can give you a lot of power. There is another very interesting story about Chavana Muni. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, Chavana Muni, after whom this Chavan Prash, you all eat this Chavan Prash, right? So Chavan Prash is actually coming from this Rishi called Chavana Rishi. Chavana Rishi is not one who actually found this. It is coming from the Ashwini Kumaras. It's a story for another day. But I'm just saying, Chavana Muni was doing tapasya once in the jungle, and while doing tapasya, his whole body was covered with antil, completely. And this little girl, the daughter of a king, Sukanya was also, and the king and all his entourage was passing through the forest, and Sukanya got little excited and she wanted to go and explore the forest a little while they were resting. And there she sees this anthill, and from inside the anthill there are 2 bright lights coming out. So she saw, oh, what is this? And she was little kiddish, and then she took this stick and she pierced this 2 holes, and actually Chavana Muni was inside, and this stick actually pierced the eyes of Chavana Muni, and then blood started oozing out. Those bright light actually turned to be the eyes of Chavana Muni, but when she pierced, the blood started oozing out. She became very fearful. So now what happened later on was, I will not explain the whole story, but through this transcendental knowledge, Chavana Muni, who was so old and fragile, he could rejuvenate his body back. He got back his eyes just by the knowledge, the power of the knowledge that he had, Divya Jnana that he had. What I'm trying to say here, this knowledge can give you siddhis that you want. Transcendental knowledge, the Divya Jnana that once you acquire can actually help you and also protect you from all the dangers in life. So that is why this process of understanding Bhagavad Gita is so fruitful. It is going to give us an understanding of what is right and wrong. At the same time, it will protect us from greatest danger. So this, we should have faith that the knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita will protect us from greatest danger. So we don't even know. Many times, as per our karma, previous karma, we are supposed to come across some great difficulty in our life. But right now, since last 1 year, just because you're reading Bhagavad Gita, so much of this sanchit karma that was there, all the previous karma was there, has been destroyed. And due to that, the dynamics of karma change. Many problems are evaded just by understanding Bhagavad Gita. So this is protecting you already. It's just that we don't know, because even before the problem has come and hit you, this knowledge of the Bhagavad Gita has protected you. You didn't even see that problem. So that faith we should have. So every moment Krishna is protecting us. That is how it is. So we should never underestimate the power of these. And Krishna is saying that perfection will come. Tat swayam yoga samsiddhaha kale natmani vindati. Kale natmani. In the due course of time, you will achieve perfection. So this perfection will happen, but time is a factor. We all have to respect the power of time. Now, no doubt we can finish Bhagavad Gita in 18 days, but we are going through this Bhagavad Gita and studying Bhagavad Gita. It may take some time, but this will give you perfection. Instead of, just imagine, instead of 18 sessions of Bhagavad Gita, which could still give you benefit, imagine you are studying Bhagavad Gita for years and understanding Bhagavad Gita for years. It is going to purify. And the great investment, all of you, please understand, lifetime after lifetime, we have just forgotten and ignored Krishna for so many times, so much of time. Now we have got a chance. This few years of investment in understanding the instructions of Krishna is a great thing. Can help you and make you fully confident, and you can escape this material world. You have to climb, you already climbed the boat of transcendental knowledge, and the Jnanagni is also burning all the previous karma. What a fortune that we have. Who can do this? Please understand, we cannot burn our karma on our own. It is only by the mercy of the spiritual master and Krishna. And fortunately, we have come in contact with both of them. So never become complacent. Never slacken into your sadhana of pranipata, pariprashna and sevaya. Don't ignore them. This has to be done repeatedly, day after day. So this is what we have covered today, 35, 36, 37 and 38. So we have covered 4 shlokas, and in the next session, we will be completing chapter 4. So we will have verse number 39, 40, 41, 42. So that we will cover in the next session. So now I open up for Q&A, and if you have questions, please feel free to ask. So anybody listening on YouTube as well as here on StreamYard, please feel free to ask questions. So Hina Mataji has a question. So Prabhuji, what is the role of fear in our life? Is everything predestined, so no need to fear, or do we change our destiny to some extent by our reactions to the circumstances we receive? How should we ideally handle our fears? Now, we should understand the root cause of fear is ignorance. Because we are ignorant of things, because we are not knowledgeable, the lack of knowledge brings us fear. For example, the student is fearful of exams because he has not gained the knowledge. But if a student has actually gained the knowledge, then there is no fear. He'll be excited to write the exams, right? So what is the difference now? The difference is the having the knowledge and not having the knowledge. When we don't have knowledge, that is when fear comes. So when a person gets this transcendental knowledge, oh, I am not this body, I am a spirit soul, just even understanding this theoretically, that I am the soul, will take away most of our fear in life. Many fears will just vanish just because you have now understood that you are not going to die, because the root cause of all the fear is the fear of death. Now when you know that, oh, I am not going to die, I am a spirit soul, only the body is going to die, that's a great relief. That will take away so much of fear. In fact, that is what happened to me. When the first time I got to know that I am a spirit soul, so much of fear vanished. So that is what our material conditioning creates fear. Now coming to your point, what is the role of fear? Fear is required. Yes, sometimes it is required. For example, just imagine a person, he has no fear, but he is actually walking on the cliff. He's on the edge of the cliff. He can fall anytime. That's if you don't have fear, you will not be alert. So sometimes fear can be used as an alarm. So if you don't have, that's a positive fear. It's good to have fear when you're walking on a cliff. Otherwise, you may lose your valuable human life. So Krishna also has given this fear, inbuilt fear, so that we don't commit some extreme things. Like many people, they do this bungee jumping and they take up some extreme sports. No, many times many people leave. They actually give up their life. They die because of these things. So fear is required, but that fear should be for your protection. Fear should not be for losing everything that you have, but fear is for protecting your spiritual life. So just like I gave an example of a person climbing or walking on a cliff, he need to have fear. If he doesn't have fear, then he may actually do something wrong. Without fear, he may actually go and die. So fear is essential sometimes, but not the fear which comes out of ignorance. Fear out of ignorance is not good. Now, fear of losing dharma is essential. Now, I also feel or have the fear of losing the association of devotees. What if I'm not in the association of devotees? Oh, what a great loss it is. So that fear is there. That spiritual fear should be there. Devotees have this kind of fear. What if I go out, I don't get prasadam and I have to eat bhoga? That is a fear the devotees have. What if I am on the path of the spiritual life, but Maya comes and attacks me and then I give away the spiritual process if I don't chant? That is a fear. So fear is required. It is having definitely some role in our life, but you should distinguish what kind of a fear it is. Is it coming out of knowledge or is it coming out of ignorance? So is everything predestined? So no need to fear? No. There is certain thing that is predestined. Certain amount of your quota in your life. The major aspects are happiness and distress is predestined because that is your prarabdha karma, but destiny can be changed. That is why spiritual life is very dynamic. Prabhupada once, he said, some of his disciples had come to, I think it was Gwalior, they were in Gwalior, and his American disciples went to a palmist, and the palmist saw the lines and said that actually some of the past events they had and also the future. So they were very happy. Oh, this palmist is expert. He's told all our past and present and future. They went and told Prabhupada, you see, that this person was so expert, he could tell our past events. And Prabhupada said, don't worry. Just by clapping your hands in the kirtan, your lines will change. That means you can change your destiny when you come and take the spiritual process. So when you start chanting the holy names, when you start following the process, the spiritual process, your destiny will change because Krishna is all powerful. All this papa karma that we have committed is definitely powerful, but not as powerful as Krishna. Krishna is powerful than the sins. So he can change our destiny. So this is the power of a devotee. So Krishna, in fact, uses your karma, even your prarabdha karma, to take you closer to him. For a devotee, when he is facing his prarabdha karma, the allotted happiness and distress, Krishna uses that prarabdha karma so that the devotee becomes more attached to Krishna. That is how Krishna will arrange situations. So it is very dynamic. Spiritual life is very dynamic. But a normal person outside who is not into spirituality, into Krishna consciousness, he has to, or he will be forced by the laws of karma to experience sorrow and happiness as per the karma. That is predestined. He cannot change. Anybody who is not Krishna conscious cannot change his karma. He has to be forced by the laws of nature. So that is one thing about the destiny. So our reactions can change, and circumstances Krishna will create so that you become purified. Many times the difficulties in our life are for our purification. Pandavas, great devotees. How many problems. Kunti Maharani, such a great devotee. So much of tribulation. Going into the forest, their wife was disrobed and disrespected, and problems after problems after problems. They were devotees. But Krishna used their prarabdha karma to purify them and glorify them and make them great in the end. So ultimately, all the problems will lead to great fame and devotion if we are into Krishna consciousness. For a devotee, there is no pain, no happiness. He is not disturbed by these things. Just like the Pandavas. Even in the forest, they were actually happy. In fact, they were more happy in the forest because they were in the association of 80,000 plus saints and sages. They had Akshay Patra. They could feed thousands of people. And no anxiety from this Duryodhana and all those people, evil people. So they were really happy in the forest. So many times for a devotee, even the problem, so-called problem, turns into a blessing. So that is how we should understand. So circumstances are temporary, Mataji. No material circumstances is permanent. So that is why we should stick on to Krishna, who is permanent, the spiritual process, which is permanent, the instructions of the spiritual master, which is permanent, absolute. So because of this, we should not get disturbed by the temporary circumstances, because today the problem is there, after some time it will vanish. So we need to stick on to our Krishna consciousness and the karma will be taken care of. So I hope that answers your question. And Achyutanji also has, Prabhuji, so need clarity on connection between sacrifice and the work we do. So any work we do is karma. But any karma or work you do for the pleasure of Krishna, that is yajna, sacrifice. So any work that you do and you add Krishna into it, and for the pleasure of Krishna, that becomes sacrifice. But if you do work and you say that, oh, I am the doer, and the results, because I have worked and I have got these results, I will only enjoy the results, then that will bind you into more and more complexities. There is a reaction. But, oh, this strength that I am doing work is given by Krishna, so I will use this energy for the pleasure of Krishna, and I will also utilize the result, some of it, if not full, some of it, for the pleasure of Krishna. Then it becomes sacrifice. You're doing it for the pleasure of Krishna. So what happens when you do sacrifice? That is, you will not be bound into this chain of action and reaction. You're becoming freed. So your action, your work is actually becoming a tool for liberation. So when you're working and you're working for the pleasure of Krishna, your work itself is taking you closer to liberation. So now you decide, you want to work for yourself and enjoy yourself, all the results that you have acquired, and get bound into this material world, or you want to instead work for the pleasure of Krishna and then move ahead towards liberation. The choice is yours. Just karma will bind you, but yajna will liberate you. So the choice is yours. So this is how sacrifice will liberate us. Otherwise, next body is definitely given to you. If you simply work or do work, okay, it may be a good work, but good work means you will get a good body. But good bodies also has to go through birth, old age, disease, and death. The same repetition of birth, death cycle. So that is why an intelligent person, oh, I'm anyway working, why not work for Krishna? Because he's the one who will pull me out of this cycle of birth and death. And that is the ultimate purpose of Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, Sarva dharmam parityajya mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma shuchaha. Krishna is saying, Sarva dharmam parityajya. Give up all this so many so-called works that you have taken up. All types of works, dharmas, you give it up. Husband dharma, wife dharma, professional dharma, that dharma, this dharma, so many dharmas that we have. Krishna is saying, Sarva dharmam parityajya. Give up all those things. Just accept me, then I will mokshashyami ma shuchaha. Now, that is how sacrifice. Sacrifice means working for the pleasure of Krishna. So I hope that answers your question. Yes, very nice. I'm very glad to have some questions today. So last few sessions, because of the limited time, we could not take up some questions, but this is nice. So if you have more questions, anything, Vinodji, Dev, Uma Kumar. Any questions? So we have some more time, and we can take maybe one or two questions. So that will be really nice. This is very interesting because, like I told you, Pariprashna, one of the quality. So we have to Pariprashna, we have to inquire. Asking questions is very important. Our day is filled with question answers. You just see, from morning, the time you wake up till the time we die, from the time we actually sleep, we are asking questions. It's all about question answers. Oh, did you get up? Did you have your breakfast? Yes. Did you take bath? No. Are you doing your work? No. Did you do your homework? No. Did you cook today? Yes. Did you eat? You see, analyze, all that you speak in a day is mostly question answers. So we have to ask transcendental questions, not just these material questions. Right? So this is an opportunity for you to ask questions. So you have to prepare. Questions will come when you do contemplation. See, when you hear these talks, the next thing that you're supposed to do is, after this session, you have to contemplate on every point that we have discussed, or at least few points. When you start contemplating, oh, this is what Prabhuji told, this is what Prabhuji told, okay, this is what, then that contemplation will give rise to many questions. So contemplation, mentally you have to think about these things. All the points that we have discussed, you have to contemplate. Then questions will arise, and you will also get a lot of clarity. Many times the questions will come, and because you're contemplating, it will get revealed in your heart. Automatically, Krishna will reveal and give you the answer right there, even before you ask. You don't have to wait until the next Sunday to ask me. So many times, some questions will be answered by Paramatma within your heart. But we need to contemplate. So see, today we have discussed so many things. We have discussed that Jnana is a board, Jnana is a fire. We understood about Prarabdha, Sanchit Karma, Agami Karma. So many points we have discussed today. So contemplate on all these things, right? So with this, we will end the session, and we will take up more verses in the next session, and we will complete chapter 4 in the next session. That will be the 48th session, and be ready with more questions, and we will take up next in the next session. Okay, so I have shared a few documents. You can please go through that. I will also share for some more things with all of you. So that will be really nice. And really, it's a very unpleasant situation everywhere because of these lockdowns. There is so much of problems people are facing. So we need to be awakened, and I think we should see things as they are. There are many evil people, demons, even in this time and age, and especially in Kali Yuga, there will be more. So there will be Hiranyakashipus and Ravanas who are trying to create a lot of nuisance in this tough times. So we should be aware of all these things. So be careful, and any decision you take, please take an informed decision and an educated decision. Just don't blindly follow whatever the media is saying or whatever the politicians are saying. We need to open up and use our brains and see the things as they are. So with that, let's meet next Sunday again. Thank you so much. Take care. Thank you so much, Achyutanji, Hina Mataji, Uma Kumar, Vinod, and Dev, and everyone here who have joined me live. So we'll see you again next Sunday. Until then, please take care. Hare Krishna. Hari Bol.